Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you guys for sticking around for this session. And one amazing thing is that what GIS can really do, right? We've listened to folks from New York Times and Alex telling us about their works and how GIS has been used over time. I'll be talking about climate change and how urbanization has affected rainfall in Atlanta. So my research is on intra-annual variation in urban effects, Georgia, Atlanta. And you can always say that how does urbanization affect rainfall in Atlanta? So this work was done with Professor Jeremy Dime. And today I will walk you through the influence of urbanization on precipitation and the seasonal variability of the effect. So quickly about me, I'm very passionate GIS analyst and developer. Been doing this for the past 6 years. I have deep passion for public service and emergency management. I've worked with humanitarian pushes map team for some time, and I'm glad to proceed more on climate change and how we could mitigate that. So urbanization is a global phenomenon, right, that reshapes our environment. So cities have been expanding over the years rapidly by 5%. And one of the most significant thing about urban heat island, right? The effect results into higher temperatures in urban areas compared to their area surroundings, which can influence weather systems, right? Especially rainfall. So in my study area, Atlanta, it serves as a prime example of urbanization and how the city has been expanding over the years. So this just shows my study area. Focuses on Atlanta, Sandy Springs, Gameville area. So Atlanta is one of the fastest growing urban regions in the southeastern of United States, right? With the population from 4.9 million in 2000, now close to about 7 million population today. This urban sprawl has drastically changed the landscapes, creating more impervious surfaces and amplifying the urban heat island effect, right? And here you could see the map of my study area, which includes 70 precipitation stations that helps track rainfall patterns across the region. So yeah, the method I used was I used the data. So the precipitation data I used was about 70 stations from 2014 to 2023. I also analyzed the 700 hectopascal wind, which are important for understanding how air flows through this region, right? And land cover analysis as well to see how urbanization is changing over the time. So this analysis involved spatial techniques like kriging, as well as Pearson correlations to identify links between urban land cover analysis and also to help us assess how these urbanizations are affecting Atlanta region downwind. So this chart just shows, basically shows the precipitation total. This just shows the wind direction. So we are seeing how wind are changing due to urbanization, right? We've seen that. We've seen more of westerly winds. So you can see in January, February, March, you see the lower troposphere wind over Atlanta, primarily westerly throughout the year. But there are notable shifts during certain months, like May to October, right? We could see more variable wind direction, which impacts rainfall patterns. What I found was that precipitation in Atlanta region is closely linked to westerly and southerly winds, particularly during the winter and early spring. These seasonalities is key to understanding how urbanization, right, influences precipitations. And as you could see, right, when you go to urban areas, you see high-rise buildings, right? Definitely, those are some of the key things that influences rainfall. So these high-rise buildings influences how convective winds flow, and convective winds are one of the indicators that makes rainfall clouds. All right, and this just shows how the wind has been moving over Atlanta. Also, this just collaborates on what I just showed you. This is also a bus plot that shows that as well. Yeah, so yeah, this map, one of the key findings of my research is the enhancement of precipitation due to urbanization, right? Particularly in in the areas of the east to the northeast Atlanta. So this is the shapefile showing different directions in the region. You have 20 kilometers, 50 kilometers, and 80 kilometers, and these are the days, right? January to December. You are seeing where these precipitation enhancements are. So we are seeing most of them downwind of Atlanta. These are center of the city. So we are seeing enhancements mostly in the downwind of Atlanta, around Cobb County, Gwinnett County, Fontaine County. If any of us is familiar with Atlanta, you will know those are one of the industrial areas in Atlanta, right? So we're seeing more of the enhancement in those areas. And yeah. And also, but this right image as well also shows that as well, shows increase. So you can see this variation of blue showing more rainfall. The dark blue shows more rainfall, while the light blue shows less rainfall. So you can see in September we have very little rainfall compared to other months. So urbanization doesn't always increase rainfall. In fact, my research shows a clear seasonal difference in this effect. So during late spring, summer, we see enhanced precipitation because of the urban heat island, right, during which intensify convective winds and leads to more rainfall. However, in the winter and the early spring, urban aerosols suppresses rainfall, right, by delaying the coalescence of water droplets and making it harder for clouds to produce a significant rainfall, and the dry effect of enhancement in the summer and the suppression in winter creates a very complex dynamic over Atlanta. So here's a heat map showing the difference between downwind. Urban downwind here means urban influenced, right, and control stations within 60 kilometers of downtown Atlanta, right? This figure is divided into precipitation total, precipitation days, and heavy precipitation days. So you see that impervious upwind distance range from 20 to 80 kilometers. So the colors are z-scores, right, from 20 to 80 kilometers, right? And the colors are z-score using mean widthening correlations. With the red showing, indicating smaller precipitation values for the downwind, while compared to the control stations, right, while the numeric denotes the differences between downwind, which is urban areas, and the control stations. So we are seeing that mostly in March, we're seeing very negative correlations in this heat map, and while we're seeing in the May, late summer, we are seeing in May to August, we are seeing more of enhanced rainfall, basically heavy precipitations, more precipitation days, and increased precipitation total. So this heat map has different dimensions of the increases and also the differences between the control stations and the downwind. So what is the next steps? The next steps definitely is to replicate this research also with other cities to see what are the correlations and also to look what are the mitigation strategies, because a lot of times when we talk about urbanizations, when we talk about development, right, we mostly don't talk about how does this affect the environment, right? And mostly environment is everything, right? So is how can we make great cities while still considering the environment itself, making sure that whatever we do doesn't impact the society or doesn't impact the climate environment of the area. So the next step is to look at the mitigation strategies and also do like a projection modeling, saying what do we see currently, and in the next 50, 60 years, would urbanization increases the rainfall in some areas? Will it suppress rainfall in some areas? And that's one of the next steps in this research. And also to look at the seasonal scale version. So you want to see spring, summer, fall, and winter, seeing how these variations have occurred. And again, to get the conversation started, to start talking about, you know what, we are seeing this, right? So what should we start doing currently, right? What do the decision makers need to start doing, right? Because a lot of times when we do a lot of researches, we end up publishing them, right, which is great, but what impact do we get from them? So we want to start getting the work out there, because also I currently also work with the Atlanta Regional Commission, which we deal with mostly green spaces and how we could make Atlanta more environmental friendly. So we want to start the conversation, start like come to conferences, and let people know about what are the effects of this development and what could we do to mitigate them and to start building more environmental friendly urban areas. So finally, to summarize, urbanization in Atlanta enhances precipitation, particularly during this warmer month. However, the seasonal variation suggests that there are complex interaction between the urban heat island, the wind pattern, and aerosols. These findings are critical for urban planners and environmental managers, especially in growing cities, right? Understanding how urbanization affects rainfall can help us to better prepare for extreme weather events, flooding, hurricane, and different types of disaster that happen, right? So thank you guys for sticking around. And again, you could always connect with me and also my co-author using this QR code. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you, guys.